Hello everyone, and welcome back to another ranking coasters video. That sounds kind of weird. Today I'll be ranking up my top 10 coasters by Bolliger & Mabillard, a roller coaster manufacturer based in Switzerland, known for making some of the most smooth and fun coasters out there. Before we start, I want to preface by saying that these are, of course, my own opinions, and if you guys agree with my rankings or maybe rank some differently, let me know in the comments because I'd love to hear all of your top 10s. Kicking it off at number 10, we have Pyrenees, a B&M invert in Parque España in Japan. So this is a coaster that I feel like is not talked about nearly enough, but the people that do talk about it absolutely love it, and many say that this is the single best B&M invert ever built. While I don't fully agree with that, it still looks insanely whippy and intense, and has some very unique elements. The coaster starts like a scaled up version of a Batman clone, goes through a very snappy cobra roll, then has this interesting ending with a corkscrew and this weird airtime moment, and this definitely looks like the most intense invert in the world. Coming in at number 9 is Nemesis Reborn at Alton Towers in the UK. In my eyes, this is the best B&M invert in the world. I debated back and forth for a while with this and Pyrenees, but I finally settled on this for the number 9 spot. While it doesn't have quite the intensity or whippiness of Pyrenees, it has probably the most unique and fascinating layout of any invert, maybe of any B&M coaster overall. It stands only 43 feet off the ground, but it picks up so much speed flying through trenches and really cool theming elements. This ride has a lot of great near misses and some surprisingly snappy inversions too. At number 8, we have Orion at Kings Island in Ohio. This is the newest of the B&M Giga coasters, and sadly, also the weakest of the three. This does get a little too much hate for not actually being 300 feet tall, and people's expectations were likely also let down, as they probably expected it to ride more like another Giga coaster later on this list. Despite all this, it still has a wild sense of speed and some great airtime, especially over the speed hill halfway through the layout. This definitely looks like the best B&M at Kings Island, and is definitely worth the ride if you're in the area. Coming in at our number 7 spot, we have Mako at SeaWorld Orlando. This B&M hypercoaster combines amazing floater airtime with an amazing setting, going out and back around a lake. The standout moment of this ride definitely seems to be the first big parabolic airtime hill. This hill is well known to give riders a full 5 seconds of sustained floater airtime, which sounds like a downright heavenly experience. And the ride isn't over there, as it navigates a hammerhead turn and some more airtime-filled camelbacks. Now, the one downside is that after the mid-course brake run, Mako's remaining elements are a little lackluster, but this ride is still amazing. At number 6, just barely beating out Mako, is Goliath, another B&M hypercoaster, this time at Six Flags Over Georgia in, Georgia. This is another ride that I think is criminally underrated. When people talk about the best B&M hypers in America, Mako is often first, but I think that Goliath is the definition of a top-end hyper. It just has airtime hill after airtime hill throughout the whole layout, each one of which absolutely hits, and it also has a very positive G-heavy helix turnaround at the far end of the ride. Unlike Mako, the second half still delivers just as much as, if not more than, the first half, making this, in my opinion, the best B&M hyper in America. Starting off our top 5, we have Starry Skyripper, a B&M flying coaster at Joyland in China. I know I keep yapping about coasters being underrated, but this is definitely the biggest example of that. Chinese coasters often don't get much attention for some reason, but this one surely deserves it. This has some of the craziest elements I've ever seen, and it just shows the potential that flying coasters have. There's one moment in particular that really stands out to me, which is like this zero-G roll looking element, which goes straight into a fly-to-lie, then a Vekoma Flying Dutchman style vertical loop on your back. This just looks insane, and I think it's actually better than Tatsu, which is a very highly regarded flying coaster. Coming in at number 4, just missing the top 3, we have Leviathan at Canada's Wonderland in Canada. This was the first B&M Giga coaster, and this ride is all about the speed. It has some fast banked turns, as well as some crazy tall camelbacks, meaning this whole ride is filled with some of the best sustained floater airtime in the world. Leviathan fits wonderfully into Canada's Wonderland skyline, and it's probably the best coaster in Canada. Okay, but can we talk about this brake run though? Why is it so tall? Awesome ride though. Coming in at number 3, we have Flying Dinosaur at Universal Studios Japan. So these top 3 coasters are the absolute best of the best of B&M, and this is easily the greatest B&M flying coaster in the world. It combines the unique elements of Starry Sky Ripper with the intensity of Tatsu. This ride goes through 5 inversions, including 3 graceful inline twists, an inside Raven turn, and a crazy intense pretzel loop. In addition to that, this ride's setting is top-notch, flying through Universal and even underground at one point. And I don't know why Universal keeps getting amazing Jurassic Park themed rides, but I'm all for it. Coming in at our number 2 spot, we have Shambhala at Portaventura in Spain. Now, Mako and Goliath were really good hypercoasters, but this one is just on a whole nother level. The amount of airtime this ride delivers feels illegal for a B&M hyper. And it's like Goliath, except much taller, faster, and with better airtime. The ride starts with some huge camelbacks and a grey-out-inducing turnaround, then goes into a speed hill with surprising ejector, then it ends out with a bunch of more camelbacks. This coaster looks absolutely legendary, especially in the back row. Finally, in the number 1 spot, coming as a surprise to absolutely nobody, is Fury 325. This is the best B&M Giga, best B&M overall, and probably one of the best coasters in the world. Remember how I said Leviathan was all about its speed? This thing is an absolute speed demon. All of its elements besides that huge first drop are low to the ground and built to show off Fury's 95 mph top speed. Fury has some great airtime too, both on the first drop and the ending camelbacks. Also, can we just appreciate that this coaster is an absolute spectacle? It stands 325 feet tall, as the name implies, and it flies over and under the pathways. To me, this is undoubtedly number 1 on this list. Alright everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, make sure to like and subscribe since it'll help the channel grow, and then I can make more videos like this. If you want to see this for another manufacturer or coaster model, make sure to leave a comment down below, and I will see you all next time.